Hello, it's me, Clayton, and I just got back from seeing Happy Death Day, which is from Universal and Blumhouse Productions, and it stars Jessica Roth, who I have never heard of before this movie came out. Now, at the start, you'll probably hate the first 20 or 25 minutes of the film, as our main character is absolutely unlikable in every form of the word. But when you go through it, you'll realize that this film is way smarter and way more interesting than it initially appears to be. But let's get to the story, shall we? The story is about a snobby, self-obsessed college girl named Tree, who seems like your typical shallow college girl. She has a bunch of equally shallow friends. She has insults for every single person she comes across. She cares about fashion and looking popular for the others rather than her family and her responsibilities, all that jazz. That is until she is murdered by a masked man, and she ends up waking up, and she wakes up in the exact same room she was when she started the film, with no one remembering what happened except her. So she has to go through the day over and over and over again, getting killed and coming back every single time until she finds out the identity of the person who has killed her. Now, the premise of the film does seem like a slasher version of Groundhog Day. Heck, they even make a reference to it in the film, pretty much acknowledging the fact that this premise has been done before. And even despite the fact that the whole dying and coming back again premise has been used in films like Groundhog Day and Edge of Tomorrow, it does work considering it's flipped around to work in a slasher film this time. And the idea of dying over and over and over again and coming back to find out who's the person who murdered you is an interesting concept, and it is put to good use here. It's put to good use for comedy during moments where our main character finds out certain things that she didn't know beforehand and uses that knowledge for later. And it works to develop her character as well. Jessica Roth plays Tree, and she's actually very good because she has to develop a lot throughout the film. She has to start out as the snobby, popular girl that everyone hates, everyone in the audience hates. She has to be the victim. She has to be the person learning more throughout the film about her killer. And she eventually has to be the conquering hero in the end. And she happens to pull off all of those with a lot of gusto. And with a performance that makes me think she's actually a veteran, despite the fact that she's a relative rookie to this whole thing. So I expect to see her in a lot of films later on, considering how good her performance is here. Also, the person who plays one of her friends in the film, Carter, is pretty good too. I mainly like him because he's kind of a movie buff, and he's sort of a geek, which makes sense because I'm sort of a movie buff and a geek. The other characters in the film mainly fulfill college movie stereotypes, but they're at least acted well, and some of them do have hidden depths to them that you won't get the first time. It's a film that really requires a lot of attention to detail in order to work, and thankfully it does work when it comes to the attention to detail. The twist at the end, I won't spoil it, but it feels like it's a film that relies a lot on twists as well. And when we eventually find out who the person is that killed our main character, it does come across as a little predictable if you know how these films go, but considering how many twists and turns they had in the film beforehand, and how many times I thought the film was going to end soon, I think it was executed pretty well. And Tree does grow into a much more likable character throughout the film than you might expect. Now, it is true that it uses a lot of college movie cliches, but while not flipping them on their head or anything, it still works because of the facade it makes at the start of the film. Where I went from absolutely dreading the film to being slightly interested to getting really interested near the end. So I went into the movie angry as heck, but it slowly won me over. That's why I'm going to give Happy Death Day a 7.5 out of 10. See you next time.